So, you're a student and you've worked up enough cash to buy your first car. You saved up $5,000 using ideal money. And you don't want to buy a lemon, or worse, something boring. Well, don't worry, we got you, because in this video, I will be going over the 8 best first cars for students under $5,000. And the last one even has a lot in common with a Lamborghini. So, if you're new here, my name's Brad Danger. This is Ideal Cars. Please smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, because we have a whole lot new content coming at you every other day. Now, are you ready? Because I am. Buckle up, and let's go. And real quick, these days we seem to be doing a bunch more online shopping. And that's where today's sponsor, Honey, comes into play. It's the free internet browser extension and really my online savings sidekick. It automatically scours the internet for promotional codes to give you discounts wherever you like to shop. And it already works for things that you are already buying. Plus, it's so easy to install. With just 2 clicks, you're gonna be able to be using it on all of your favorite websites. And how easy is it to use? Well, it just pops up at checkout and asks you to apply coupons. And it really is that simple to save money. Yes, it starts searching coupon codes automatically and works on all types of websites. Then all you gotta do is hit accept and you save money instantly. And this is for anything from auto parts websites, gaming websites, tech websites, literally anything. So if you have a computer, Honey needs to be on it. Just go to joinhoney.com/idealmedia. That's joinhoney.com/idealmedia. And so far, you guys that have downloaded it already have saved over $30,000. So be sure to download it if you don't have it on your computer already, because we have it on all our computers here at Ideal. And thank you, Honey, for sponsoring today's video. Now, back to the show. Toyota is known for dependability and reliability, which is crucial for a cheap first car. But most Toyotas aren't fun. But this one is, and it's the Scion Tc. Scion was Toyota's hip younger brand aimed to add some excitement to the brand, all while keeping everything low cost. The TC is essentially a sporty take on the Toyota Corolla. It chops 2 doors and adds an appearance package to really set it apart. And quite honestly, I think it's a really good looking car. Plus, the TC has a little 2.5 liter 4-banger, which is good for about 180 horsepower. And when you pair that with an absolutely brilliant 6-speed manual, you have yourself one fun little canyon carver. And I mean, what's not more fun than driving a manual transmission with your Save the Manuals t-shirt? Our best seller, and you can snag one up here. But just because it's a fun, peppy car doesn't mean it's gonna eat gas, because it also returns over 30 miles per gallon at the pump. And if you ask me, I think Scion really nailed the recipe of excitement and reliability, which makes it the perfect first car for students. But if you're afraid that that small 2-door coupe's gonna be impractical, well, it does actually have a hatchback with tons of room to store stuff behind the rear seats, which aren't too cramped for short drives. And yes, while it might not be the nicest on the inside, it sure isn't gonna let you down, as some of these cars will run over 200,000 miles without even breaking a sweat. But the best part about the Scion Tc is that the aftermarket ran wild with these cars. Most parts are interchangeable and like Legos. So cheap parts can easily make your car stand out in the school parking lot. Performance parts are available too though. So what's not to love? You could get a first generation TC with low miles for under your $5,000 budget. But if it were me, I'd opt for a second generation. Yes, you're gonna be looking at a car with more miles than a first gen, but it has much more aggressive lines. And dare I say, just downright better styling. The guys over at Rocket Bunny thought so too. With $2,100 and some bodywork, you can have yourself a wide body weapon. So for a first car, what more could you want? Wait, what is that? A Miata? Of course you do. A Miata is made to put a smile on your face wherever you go, and man, does it deliver. Mazda took a page out of Porsche's book and focused on handling. The result is one of the best lightweight, open top experiences on the market, regardless of price point. At first, NA Miatas came with a sprightly 116 horsepower from a 1.6 liter engine. Then an upgrade came in 1994 with a bigger 1.8 liter putting out a little bit more power, 128 horses, which yes, may not sound like a whole lot, but that's nearly a 10% jump. Now, no matter how much power your Miata puts down, it's not gonna be a straight line speed demon. It's all about the twisties and the apexes and the canyons and, well, those pop-up headlights. Duh. There's really a reason why Miata is always the answer, and it's because not only is it sporty, but it's also reliable. And, well, it's gonna save you money at the pump because it's good on gas too. And, well, I think the best part about it, which was kind of hard to choose, is the price. And surely, they have doubled in value over the past couple of years because, well, the secret is out. But for $5,000, you might just be lucky enough. Who knows how much higher they'll go? Because really nice examples, well, there's still an ideal deal because those pieces are going to the moon. And if you're interested in buying a Miata or any other car on this list, go check out my free webinar where I talk about the 7 mistakes that I see people make all of the time when trying to buy a car that will appreciate and you make money on while driving. Go check out the Ideal Car Strategies free webinar up here. And I know some of you guys are saying that the Miata just doesn't make enough power for you, and I understand. And if that's the case, I bet a good old American V8 Mustang will provide enough punch. Now, I'm talking about the 4th gen or the SN95 Mustang, which is downright dangerous in the wrong hands. But as long as you don't get too close to crowds and you can control your car, you're gonna be just fine. You see, the SN95 Mustang took generations of heritage and forward-thinking design to create the new Edge Mustang. And it sure deserves its name as it's really brought a new edge to the aging Fox platform. While yes, it still retained the chassis and a lot of the Fox body components, the SN95 took what was awesome about the Fox body and turned it up to 11. And you know, here at Ideal, we like turning it up to 11. So they plopped in a 5-liter V8 pumping out 215 horses, which nowadays, yes, I agree, doesn't sound like a lot, but with 285 foot-pounds of torque on hand, it pushes this beast from 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds. Or opt for a later model with the 4.6 liter V8 and it comes with 260 horsepower and over 300 foot-pounds of torque standard. Now, that added power drops the 0 to 60 time by over a second. And with some mods like an intake, cams, headers, and a full exhaust, this thing will fly and sound great doing it. Now, the SN95 Mustang is a great first car for gearheads because parts are plentiful. And in fact, you still see them competing in many forms of motorsports to this day. Plus, Ford made over 1 million of these 4th gen Mustangs, so the chances that you're able to find a good one is pretty solid. And if you need parts, I bet the local junkyard will have one or tree. So if something breaks, it's gonna be cheap to fix. And that's great because the money that you do save on used parts, you can use at the pump. Because yes, a V8 Mustang isn't the best on gas, but you can do smoky burnouts. And believe me, that will put a huge smile on your face in the process. So for $5,000, what more could you want? Wait, you want better gas mileage and maybe something a little bit more luxurious than just bare bones Ford interior? Well, what about the Acura TL? On average, a 3rd generation Acura TL will get about 10 additional miles per gallon of gas over the Mustang. However, I bet you hear Acura and you think boring, but you'd be wrong. You see, the 3rd generation was a great mix of economical, sporty, luxury, and reliability. And instead of a puny 4-cylinder, Acura fitted the TL with your choice of 2 V6s. A peppy 3.2 liter, good for 270 horsepower, or a bigger, badder 3.5 liter with 286 horses, which was good for a 0 to 60 time faster than a WRX. Now, I bet you're thinking that the WRX is more fun because it's offered in a manual transmission, but guess what? The TL was as well. And the TL even got a 6-speed manual versus the 5-speed manual in the WRX. But performance isn't what the car is really known for. It's an Acura, meaning that it is, well, essentially a Honda. It's a Honda with way nicer materials, which you'd expect to carry a pretty hefty price tag. But you can still find these for under $5,000 all day long and not have to worry about reliability at all. And the same can be said about our next vehicle, the Toyota 4Runner. For an SUV, the Toyota 4Runner takes reliability to a whole different level. Sure, most vehicles will last a few 100,000 miles before becoming worthless and ending up in a junkyard, but Not the 4Runner, not at all. You can just continue to push past 250,000 miles without skipping a beat. And I don't know about you, but I seem to find these 4Runners out there still on the road today that look pristine with 200, 300, even 400,000 miles on them. And unlike previously mentioned cars, their value won't be zero at that mileage. You see, no matter what mileage, people buy an old Toyota truck because they were built so simply and bulletproof that they can be blown off buildings and still run. The 4Runner is ready for you to throw anything you want to at it, from mud holes to ski trips to remote overlanding excursions. A 4Runner, it's just ready for everything, including your school parking lots. And yes, while a 4Runner is not a sports car or just a car by any means, it's still a ton of fun. Yes, you won't be carving canyons, but you could climb them. And add a simple lift and some 33s and you'll be able to tear up pretty much any trail you throw at it. Now for engines, the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder, it's not gonna let you down, but the 3.4 liter V6 packs a bigger punch. But not a much bigger punch because it only has 183 horsepower as opposed to the 2.7's 150 horsepower. Just avoid the 3-liter motor, nicknamed the 3-point slow, get it? Which are known to eat head gaskets for lunch. So if you get one of the two other versions, you'll be able to tear up the pavement or the trails for hundreds of thousands of trouble-free miles. Plus the price is pretty perfect, coming in at just under $5,000 for a 4-wheel drive model with your choice of engine. And why worry about another car when all you need is one car for your whole life? And while the 4Runner is an ideal choice, if you want something that you can take to the track, well, it's just not gonna cut it. But you know what will? A BMW E46 3 Series. The E46 is widely regarded as the best generation of 3 Series and for very good reason. Because, well, the E46 generation has so many models that are all home runs. From the Mac Daddy M3 all the way down to the 323i. From a coupe to sedan to convertible. From automatic to manual. Rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. And while $5,000 isn't gonna get you into an M3, you still have quite a few options. And just because you won't be able to afford an M3 doesn't mean that you're not getting a great car. Oh no, because more mainstream models aren't used and abused as much as the M models, which means, well, that they have more life in them. It's not uncommon to see an E46 live past 200,000 miles. And yes, the base models don't pack the same punch as an M3, but they still come stocked with 170 horsepower. And if you add a few go-fast bits, you're truly not gonna be disappointed. But if you really want a baller bimmer, step up to a 330i, which is good for 235 horses and a 60 run in just 5.5 seconds. And the best part is that you can get yourself a 330i for under $5,000. But be warned that BMWs, regardless of which model you get, command a pretty penny to run. And if and when something breaks, you could easily be shelling out thousands in repairs. So if you want to avoid that, you might want to look at something more Japanese, like a Subaru Impreza. And unlike bimmers, Subarus are much cheaper when things break. But chances are, nothing's gonna break. And that must be music to your ears, unless you're whistling diesel. You see, the Subaru Impreza has a boxer motor, which is good for 170 horsepower. And really, that isn't bad for a non-turbo Subi. But the best part is that legendary sound. Yes, I think you and me and everybody else, when you hear that from any distance, you know exactly what car it is. But people don't just buy Subis for their sound. They're quite capable on and off-road, thanks to their symmetrical all-wheel drive system. And if you don't know what the difference is between all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, go ahead and click on this video up here. It's definitely ideal on explaining the differences. And Subis aren't just good off-road, they also return great gas mileage at the pump too. Most Subarus share the same underpinnings, which is great for finding replacement parts at junkyards. And while top-of-the-line models like the WRX and the STI get all the love, base model Imprezas are really underappreciated, which means that we can find them for a great deal. Because today you can pick up a well-equipped 3rd gen for right around $5,000. Then throw your monthly allowance at it to get a few performance parts and you might even be beating a Lambo. But what about half a Lambo? What if I said that you could buy half a Lambo for your budget? I mean, not literally half a Lambo, but a Volkswagen Jetta. And hear me out, because I know you're asking, how is a Jetta half a Lambo? Well, just take its engine. Its glorious 2.5 liter inline 5. Double it and you got the Lamborghini Gallardo V10. Well, maybe not exactly like that, but we can dream, right? Plus, unlike the Lamborghini, the Jetta is actually reliable, known for lasting hundreds of thousands of miles with very little maintenance. And like a Lambo, the Jetta is actually a ton of fun to drive, especially when paired with a manual transmission. The best part is that you can share the fun with your friends. The sedan offers practicality that a Lambo just can't. And while producing 170 horsepower and returning over 30 miles to the gallon, grab one with some options and you're looking at a plush interior lined in leather with an engine that just won't quit. It's like the Energizer Bunny. Plus, just tell me that this doesn't sound like a Lambo. Yeah, that is a Jetta, and one you can have for less than $5,000. How is one of the most common commuter cars so cool? Volkswagen, you did it again. And I want you guys to tell me, which of these cars would you recommend for a student? Or are there any cars that we left off this list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Buying a good car as a student is definitely a lot of work, but it can be very rewarding if you take your time and you do it right. And guys, thank you again for watching this video. I'm Brad Danger, this is Ideal Cars, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.